Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Acting President Oshibajo meets with Southeast traditional rulers, describes Arawa and Biafra agitations as both wrong and unlawful. Kidnap kingpin Evans leads policemen on a tour of his erstwhile detention camps for people he abducted. Elders and youths of Bakassi community demand probe into alleged diversion of relief materials, accuse Senator Itagiwa of masterminding it. Portugal's government declares 3 days of mourning for the 61 victims of raging forest fires in the central region. For more on our top stories and others, please visit our websites, channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. Log on to m.channelstv.com to watch us on your mobile device, or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. The Channels TV and Channels 24 apps will give you access to news and updates. You also have access to the Eyewitness feature, with which you can share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. Let's take a look at some of the pictures that you sent into our portal. We begin with this one. It's from Apapa in Lagos, showing articulated vehicles and trucks causing traffic gridlock on the major road leading to the country's biggest ports. Our Eyewitness reporter says containers fall almost on a daily basis on the road, while petrol tankers parked on both sides add more to commuters' problems. Next is this picture of the broken Michika Bridge in Adamawa State. Our Eyewitness reporter says road users and residents of the area are having a hard time connecting with other communities. He's hoping that government would fix the bridge as soon as possible. Here's where our journey ends. We see a flooded Herbert Macaulay Road in Yaba area of Lagos. Eyewitness reporter says it's always a terrible experience plying the route whenever it rains due to the poor state of the drainage. He's calling on the Lagos state government to do something about it quickly. Keep sending in your pictures. We appreciate them. Residents of Igbo Kekere community in Ikorodu area of Lagos have charged the police to expand their investigation to unravel those behind the murder of a 7-year-old boy in the area. During an interview with Channels Television, the residents acknowledged the role of vigilante in the area, but want more police presence in their community.
Another day, another horrible crime in Ikorodu, Lagos, southwest of Nigeria. If you're visiting this neighborhood for the first time, you can easily tell that something has gone wrong, judging by the cluster of residents lost in gaze as to a recent happening. Let's start like this. With a little courage, this woman points to a shallow grave where the severed head of a 7-year-old boy was buried by his captors.
Yeah, start this place now.
According to residents of this sleepy Okoniburu community, the victim was lured by a family friend who, in connivance with another man called Alagba, took him into captivity before decapitating his body.
We are just seeing a woman running up and down, say she's looking for a child. How old? He says 7 years. So around something after 2 p.m., so the woman rushed down here because he had the information that someone very close to her, take the child and brought the child here. So the first time that they enter here, he asked for the man. They say the man is not around. So they eventually see the man begin to deny that he do not see any child, that he do not carry any child. When they took the young man away, they said then took him to another community again, Boshoro. So then put one charm on his neck. He began to confess. He said yes, he picked the child from the former place that he's lived before. That he sold the child 130,000 naira to Alagba. They called the man pastor. So he took them to the pastor place. So when they reach there, they said they have already killed the young boy around 4 p.m. The young boy have already been slaughtered.
So much credit has been given to the vigilante group in this community, but residents say it would be a helpful idea to have police presence in the area.
The only thing, they let them bring the police post to our area. And you see, the road is not good now.
We should warn our children. We want them very well so that they will know that it is not everybody that you see that you move closer to. The person you have seen for a very long time, let your children know that they are not related to you. It is not everybody that will call them to send them on errand that they should answer their call.
It's one crime too many in Ikorodu, which again raises concerns about what strategy the Lagos Command of Nigerian Police have up their sleeves if the spate of heinous crime in the state is anything to go by. Just as many also wonder the fate of the school children kidnapped several weeks ago who are yet to regain freedom. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
From crime to politics now, Nigeria has 45 registered political parties, but that number was way more than that 5 years ago. The Independent National Electoral Commission, responsible for registering the parties, also has the power to delist them where it feels they fall short of INEC requirements. In this report, our political correspondent, Seun Okinbaloye, highlights some of the issues in Nigeria's party system and the newly registered political parties.
Nigeria now has 45 political parties, but it has not always been like this. The symbols of some of the political parties you often find on ballot papers during elections. About 5 years ago, those parties were pruned down by 28. We had well over 60 political parties then. INEC chairman at the time, Professor Atairu Jega, then said the reason why those parties were delisted was because they did not meet the requirement of the law and warned that more political parties could be deregistered so long as they failed to meet the requirement of the law. Some Nigerians have argued if we really need a multi-party system in Nigeria.
But let there be two main parties so that at elections, the choices will be very clear.
Nigeria should not be only one party country. Competition brings out the best in individuals, competition.
28 political parties may have been delisted by the Professor Atairu Jega's INEC then, but barely 5 years away, about 100 associations are willing to be registered, and that's according to INEC. INEC has said we may see more parties being registered in the coming days. One may then wonder where the parties really exist, practically or in the books. Because in the real sense of it, out of the 40 registered parties, less than 4 of them often mobilize or even show any interest at elections. In the past 2 years or so, the idea of opposition party appears to have totally been lost. Going by the inactivity of these political parties, a lot of them might soon be delisted, just like the 28 Jega removed in 2012.
I wish to remind all political parties that the law also provides for deregistration of political parties. We shall vigorously apply this aspect of the law as the need arises.
Seun Okinbaloye reporting for Channels Television News.
Let's take a further look at the registration of new political parties by INEC. Will this strengthen the opposition, and how will the new parties be properly integrated into the political system? I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by the chairman of the Transition Monitoring Group, Dr. Abiola Akiode Afolabi. She joins us from our studios in Abuja. Dr. Akiode Afolabi, it's great to have you on the news at 10. Our 5 political parties have been registered. This is coming after INEC did deregister some other political parties. Are we really making progress? And what do you expect INEC to be doing now?
Well, I think that registering new political parties within the scope of the work of the INEC, there are constitutional provisions for that. If you look at the Section 222 of the Constitution, as it runs up to Section 227 of the Constitution, and also if you look at the Electoral Act, Section 78, and also 82 of the Electoral Act, give INEC that mandate to actually register political parties in Nigeria. And if one also look at rights for political parties to join political association, it's also a constitutional right. So actually, ordinarily, there should be nothing wrong with political party registering in Nigeria. But if we look at our political history and if we look at what is happening, you will see that there is a challenge with the proliferation of political party. Ordinarily, it should help with competition, it should help with participation. Because of the diversity of the country, the population of the country, it should actually be a positive thing. But if we look at, so why are they registering new political parties? Some of these parties that are coming up, they are parties that are disgruntled, there are people who are disgruntled, who were part of the major political parties before, who have decided to go and form a new political party. So the point is that we are not resolving the political system crisis in Nigeria. Rather, we are probably adding more problems. So it's not as if these new parties are going to be having new political ideology or they are going to change the face of politics. So, well, it's very unfortunate that we have found ourselves at this level. So we won't be surprised if in the coming period, some of these political parties are also deregistered. But from the information that we are getting from INEC, over 90 associations have actually shown interest in being registered, and they are passing through the processes. And I think that this is a huge, huge work for INEC, even as an organization. If you look at the last election, the number of logos on the party was so unwieldy that people cannot even identify which is which. So if we have to have more, so what is the implication of that for the political system? But the most important is that if the political parties are genuine, I don't think that we should be concerned as citizens, but because we are also not sure of the stance of some of these political parties, so it is really a very worrisome development.
But don't you think it's a bit late in the game? I mean, how much political clout will these parties be able to gather before the elections? We're just months away from the proper preparations for the elections. You don't think it's a bit late for them coming on board?
Well, I wouldn't say that, because even if you look at the APC, it didn't really take them more than 2 or 3 years to gather the kind of strength that they have today. So one cannot really say that because they are coming in 2017 and the election is 2019. Anything can happen. The political system in Nigeria is so porous that the political parties, they know how to align and how to work together and get themselves, impose themselves on the people. So I think that what is important is for us to insist on having a political system that actually respects the will and aspiration of the people, and that we don't have as of today. We don't have political parties with philosophy. People are talking about their interests. They are not talking about the interest of the people, and that is why it's very, very worrisome. So we actually need alternative political parties that are genuine, and we do hope that amongst all these over 90 associations that they are talking about, maybe we would really probably find a political association that is will actually speak to for the people.
Looking ahead, what plans do you think INEC should be putting in place right now as we prepare for the elections? There were a number of issues that were raised during the last elections. For example, the card readers were not functioning properly, and of course the proper voters register. Then there was the issue with the cards itself, people collecting the cards on time, and then people who turned 18 after the cards were already issued and so on. What should INEC do as it prepares now for the next election so we don't have the same issues we had in the last one?
Well, INEC has been, they've started continuous voters registration earlier than they have done in previous years, and I think that's quite commendable. But that is also running with a lot of challenges, and one is also wondering, looking at some of the challenges and from the reports that we have been getting from some of our observers that are on ground, in some of the places they don't have electricity, and they have situations whereby some of the data capture also freezes and all that, so the system are not working well, and one is looking at if we have having this kind of challenge in continuous voters registration, what are the likely challenges that we might have for the 2019 election? So I think that there's a need for INEC to sit up more to ensure that some of the machines that they are using are working, and also to ensure that they do more so that we can have a much more freer and better 2019 elections. Dr. Abiola Akintoye-Afolabi, it's been a pleasure having you on the News at 10. Thank you for joining us. When the News at 10 returns, our community report tonight highlights the plight of Amikwo in Oka, Anambra State, a community besieged by floods. Do join us again.